Hello everyone. So this lecture includes the oral explanation of the classroom questions of the chapter Moving Charge and Magnetism. The PDF containing the solutions was shared earlier, and so we can, in case you need assistance with further explanation, you can refer to this video. So question number 1. Charge particle moves through a magnetic field perpendicular to its direction. Then what stays constant and what stays as variable. Okay, so whenever a charge particle enters perpendicular to a magnetic field, then what happens? It moves in a circular path, right? So when it moves in a circular path, the speed stays constant. Speed and kinetic energy, these stays constant, right? These are scalar quantities. And velocity and momentum. I'm writing down momentum as p. These are vector quantities. Since direction is changing, so they will vary, right? So if you check the options, you'll see the option number D confirms with our condition. Like momentum changes, momentum is a variable, kinetic energy is a constant. So that is number 1. Question number 2. A uniform magnetic field and a uniform electric field and a uniform magnetic field are acting along the same direction. Now you project a electron along the direction of the field, then what will happen to the speed of the electron? Now you see electric field acting along this way, magnetic field is also acting along this way. Now you fire an electron, you project an electron, and you know one thing, that positive charges they tend to move along the field, negative charges they tend to move opposite to the field. So positive charge will be accelerated, negative charge will be retarded, right? So the speed will fall, decrease. Now whenever you fire a charge particle along the field, along the magnetic field or opposite to the magnetic field, it means that you are projecting it in parallel or anti-parallel. In that case, magnetic force is 0, right? In that situation, magnetic force comes out to be 0. So electric force will act, but electric force will tend to retard the charge, and therefore the answer is, like, velocity will decrease. So answer is option number D. Okay, so that goes question number 2. Number 3, you have a charge particle. Now this has to be a positive charge. Okay, this has to be a positive charge. It is given as negative in the question. This has to be positive. So charge particle charge value is given, moving with velocity given along the x-axis. It enters a region where a magnetic field is acting along y-axis. So magnetic field is along y-axis, charge particle is moving along x-axis, right? So, and then you see electric field is of this magnitude is acting along z-axis. Electric field is acting along z-axis. So if the charge particle continues moving along x-axis, then you have to find out the magnitude of B. So the path of the trajectory of the charge particle is not at all affected. It is moving. It was moving along the x-axis and it is continuing to move along the x-axis. In that case, the effect of magnetic field and electric field acting on the charge particle should be equal. That means the electric force and the magnetic force acting on the charge particle should be equal. So you see, if you put the diagram in this manner, that the magnetic field is along y-axis and electric field is along negative z-axis. Okay, is that mentioned? Yes, negative z-axis is mentioned. So like this is x, this is y, this is z. So in that case, this is the magnetic field and electric field is along this way. Now if the charge particle is moving along this way, now you'll put your Fleming's left hand rule in such a manner that middle finger is pointing towards the current, that is the charge particle, which is positive, as I said. So moving along the x-axis, field is along y-axis shown by your forefinger. In that case, thumb will show you the magnetic force which is acting in the z direction upwards, right? Now if electric field is acting along the negative z-axis, then the electric force, since this is a positive charge will have a tendency to move along the electric field. So electric force will act along the negative z-axis. So magnetic force along z-axis, electric force along negative z-axis. Now since the charged particle is continuing to move along a straight line, in that case the magnetic force and the electric force, they should be equal in magnitude, right? So QVB equal to QE, right? So you need to find out what is the magnitude of B. So for B, here QQ cancels, B equal to E by V, right? So E value is given as 10 to the power 4, V value is given as 10, so your answer is 10 cube, right? So it is option number D. Question number 3, option number D is the answer. Next, number 4. You have a particle of mass m, charge q is placed at rest, okay, in a uniform field, electric field E, and then released. The kinetic energy attained by the particle after moving a distance y is what? Now you see here, yeah, since the particle is in an electric field, though, therefore electric force QE will act on the particle, right? It is at rest. However, we won't need that rest thing in this particular solution. And now it was at rest, it is moving, right? After moving, it has covered a distance y. So we can say that the work done by this electric force on the charged particle is getting reflected as kinetic energy. Therefore W equal to K equal to force into displacement Fy. Therefore QEY. So this is your answer, QEY. Now this same question can be projected in a different manner also. In case you have time and mass in the, in the options, then we'll have to do it in a different manner. In that case, look, force is QE, and the charged particle has come to motion from rest, therefore definitely it has some acceleration. So acceleration, from the relation F equal to ma, we can write down A equal to F by m. Now since this acceleration is due to electric force, therefore you can write down this relation as QE by m. Now initially the charged particle was at rest, so what is the final velocity then? U plus V equal to U plus AT. U is 0, right? So AT is like QE by m into T. So QET by m. So in that case, kinetic energy relation is half mv square, half of m into QET by m whole square. Now you can have Q square E square T square by 2m. So this can be the same question can have, in case can have this result also, in case you have time and mass in the options, then you have to explore this solution. However, for the given question, our answer is option number C. Next, let's see question number 5. So you have proton and alpha particle. They enter a uniform magnetic field with same velocity. Time period of rotation of the alpha particle will be what? So you see the relation for time period is 2 pi m by qb, right? Now here they are entering the same field, so if you remove the constants, like b will be constant here, and 2 pi is already a constant, so t is proportional to mass by charge. Now mass for proton, you see, for proton proportional to mass of proton divided by charge of proton is E. For alpha particle, the mass of alpha particle is 4 times of mp and charge is twice E. So this gives you 2 mp by E. Now mp by E is Tp, right? So this is 2 times of Tp. So for alpha particle, the time period is double of your proton time period for proton. Okay, so your 2 times that of proton, option number B. The same problem can be done in terms of ratio also. In the solutions in the PDF, I've done it in terms of ratio, so you can refer that, whichever you find convenient. Question number 6. Now charged particle is moving along a circle under the action of magnetic field and electric field. Now the region may have, what about electric field and magnetic field? Look, for a charged particle to move in a circular path, right, you need perpendicular magnetic field, right? So in that case, your B cannot be 0. B has to have some value, right? But electric field can be 0 because electric field is not required for a charged particle to move in a circular path. It can at most accelerate or retard a charged particle moving parallel or anti-parallel, depending on positive charge and negative charge as well. So for this particular question, your answer is option number B. Question number 7 next. Now you have a charged particle Q which is moving with a velocity given in terms of I cap and J cap, right? Unit vectors, and B vector is also given. You have to find out the condition under which force becomes 0, okay, or force is proportional to option number D as it is given. Now we know that in vector form the magnetic force relation is Q V vector cross B vector. So V vector cross B vector will get you like I J K. Let's find out the cross product. AB 0 and here CD 0. Now I cap, for I cap you multiply this two, right? B into 0 is 0, D into 0 is 0. So I cap does not exist here, it is 0. For J cap, now I cap value minus J cap, then for J cap you multiply this A into 0 and then C into 0, minus A into 0 minus C into 0, that is also giving you 0. Finally plus K cap A into D and C into D, right? So your K cap value exists, that is like AD minus CD. Therefore the magnetic force is Q V cross V, so Q K cap AD minus CD. Now you see force will become 0 if AD is equal to CD, then your magnetic force will become 0. Okay, so our answer is option number A. Next, question number 8. You have charged particles X and Y, they have equal charges, and after being accelerated through the same potential difference enter a region of uniform magnetic field. Describe circular path of radius R1 and R2. So ratio of the masses of X and Y, ratio of the mass of X and Y is what? So radius relation is mv by qv. Now momentum in terms of kinetic energy is square root of 2mk by qb, and k in terms of potential difference is 2mqv by qb. So in the present situation, you see R is proportional to V is constant, B is constant, then it is proportional to square root of mass by charge. Okay, so proportional to, but though they also have equal charges, right? So it is proportional to square root of mass only. So it is proportional to square root of mass, and mass is proportional to R square. So mass ratio will be R1 by R2 whole square. Answer is option number C. Now in case you do not understand like how mv became k and how k became qv, like kinetic energy is half of mv square. This can be written as m square v square by twice of m, right? If you see, if you cancel this m and this m, then you get half of mv square, the same thing again. Now here m square v square is like p square divided by 2m. So from here you get that p is equal to square root of 2mk. So this is the relation between momentum and kinetic energy. Now again, work done on a charge by a potential difference V, or work done on a charge Q by a potential difference V is QV. Now for this work done, the charge gains some kinetic energy, therefore this work done is reflected as kinetic energy K. Therefore you can write down K equal to QV. Okay, so that is the manner how we have done this. mv momentum we have expressed as square root of twice mk, and then in place of k we have written qv. So this square root of twice mk became square root of 2mqv. I hope this particular question is clear. Next, question number 9. Four charged particles, they are projected perpendicularly into the magnetic field with equal speed. Okay, same magnetic field, same speed. Which one will have the minimum frequency? Now time period relation is 2 pi m by qb. So frequency relation is like inverse of time period, that is qb by 2 pi m. qb by 2 pi m, right? So in this case, except charge and mass, remaining things are constant, right? Field is constant and 2 pi is constant. Now you have four, like proton, electron, lithium plus, helium plus. So all have charges, E, magnitude if you talk about, like proton has charge plus E, electron has minus E, lithium plus has plus E, and helium plus has plus E. Because one electrons are donated, taken off from this two, atoms. So in general, the total charge for lithium is 0, right? So 3 protons, lithium has 3 protons inside the nucleus and 3 electrons in the outer shell. So they make 0, total charge of 0. But when one electron is taken off, so 3 proton plus 3e and 1 electron is taken off, therefore minus 2e is the charge and plus 3e is the charge of the nucleus, and therefore it becomes what? Let me write that. I hope you'll understand that better. So lithium atom has 0 charge, right? Now lithium atom has 3 proton, 3 electron, so that will make 0 charge. But when it is lithium plus, you see the proton number remains same, which gives you plus 3e. The electron number, 1 electron is taken off, therefore it becomes twice e minus 2e is the charge for 2 electrons. Therefore it will give you plus e charge. Same goes with helium. Now so we are checking the frequency, right? So for proton proportional to charge is E, mass is mass of proton. For electron, proportional to, again magnitude we are considering, mass of electron. Then for lithium plus, charge is E and mass is 6 times of mp. Now 3 proton and 3 neutron, what do you have inside the lithium nucleus? For helium plus, proportional to charge is E and mass is 4 times of mp. So since all the numerators are same, all the numerators are same, the highest denominator will have minimum frequency, right? So it is for lithium plus, frequency for lithium plus 6 times of mp is in the denominator, therefore your maximum frequency will be obtained by lithium plus. That is question number 9. Next, question number 10. So a proton and a deuteron has and an alpha particle, they enter a magnetic field. Proton, deuteron, alpha particle, they enter a magnetic field perpendicular to the field with the same velocity, right? What is the ratio of the radii of the circular paths? So again you are talking about radius, mv by qb. Now what are constants here? Like r is proportional to mass by charge, remaining like speed and field is constant. So for proton, rp proportional mass is like mp by charge. For deuteron, writing capital T for deuteron, So deuteron is hydrogen 2, right? In the nucleus you have one proton and one neutron, so the mass is 2 times of mp, and charge is like e again, and then mass of radius of alpha particle, it is like 2 electrons are taken off from helium nucleus, sorry, helium atom. So what remains back is helium nucleus. So inside the nucleus you have 2 proton 2 neutron, therefore the mass is 4 times of mp, and the charge is twice e, right? For 2 proton you have twice e charge, so this is proportional to 2 mp by e. So what is the ratio? You see mp by e, if you take this as 1, here you have 2 times of mp by e, there is 2, and 2 times of mp by e, so 1 is to 2 is to 2 is your answer. 1 is to 2 is to 2 is your answer. Question number 11 next. Proton, deuteron and an alpha particle will have the same kinetic energy. They enter a region of uniform magnetic field, right, moving at right angles to B. What is the ratio of the radii of the circular paths? Now again we are using the radius relation R equal to mv by qb. Now here it is being talked about kinetic energy, same kinetic energy, right? So you have to get this relation in terms of kinetic energy, root over twice mk divided by qb. Now same magnetic field, therefore radius is proportional to same kinetic energy, same magnetic field. Radius is proportional to square root of mass by charge. So you have proton, deuteron, alpha. Okay, so for proton it is proportional to square root of mp divided by charge z. For deuteron it is proportional to square root of 2 mp divided by charge is e again. For alpha it is proportional to 4 times of mp divided by square root of 4 times of mp divided by twice of e, right? Twice of e. So this will get you 2 mp divided by 2e, that is proportional to mp by e. So R alpha is proportional to mp by e. So did I make a mistake? Yes, 2 square root of mp. So square root of mp by e. So you have, if this is 1, this is root over 2, right? And this is 1. So 1 is to root over 2 is to 1 is your answer. Option number A. 1 is to root over 2 is to 1. Next, question number 12. You have a proton of mass given, charge given, is projected with a speed given at an angle 60 degree to the x-axis. Now uniform magnetic field of this value is along y-axis. The path of the proton is what? Now you see, say we consider the magnetic field along y-axis. It is given here, right? Magnetic field is along y-axis. It is mentioned magnetic field is along y-axis, and along x-axis, with the x-axis the proton is making angle 60. Therefore with the magnetic field it is making angle 30, because in our relation we consider the angle made with the magnetic field. So when it makes an angle of 30 degree with the magnetic field, then it will have this helical path, right? It will have this helical path. So for that our relation was R equal to mv sin theta divided by qb. So what is the mass given here? Mass is 1.67 10 to the power minus 27. Speed is 2 into 10 to the power 6 and sine 30, right? Divided by charge 1.6 10 to the power minus 19. Field value is 0.104. Okay, so I'm avoiding the calculation here. You'll work that out yourself and you'll get the answer to be 0.1 meter. Okay, for radius. For time period it is 2 pi m by qb. So time period it is 2 pi m by qb. Again if you put the value and You do the calculation, you will get it as 2 pi. Pi has to be retained, okay? 2 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 seconds. So time period, radius we have found out, and the path is helical. So you see it matches with option number C. Okay, time period is 2 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, this, and radius is this, and the path is helix. Next, question number 14. Sorry, question number 13. So particle of charge this having moving along x direction with the velocity this experience a force of this in the y direction. Force is in the y direction given, okay, due to the magnetic field. Find the minimum magnetic field. So you see, so charge particle is going along x-axis, okay, along x-axis, v vector, and force is along y-axis. So you can use the Fleming's left-hand rule to find out the direction of the magnetic field, right? Obviously that will be perpendicular to both of this, x and y. So in the Fleming's left-hand rule, you have to fix the thumb along the y-axis, right? And current along the x-axis, that is middle finger along the x-axis. In that case, you see that the field is entering inside. The forefinger is pointing inwards. So that will be along negative z direction. However, that direction, yes, we need it. Yes. So field is inwards. Okay, field will be inwards. Field will be inwards. This is z prime, this is z, and field will be inwards, therefore putting cross for magnetic field. Now if you check the relation, Fm equal to QVB sine theta, and again it is talked about minimum magnetic field, okay? So B equal to F by QB sine theta. So minimum magnetic field will happen because this force QV, FQV, these values are given in the question, right? So you cannot do anything with that. But for minimum magnetic field, sin theta has to be maximum. And when sin theta is maximum, when theta value is 90 degree, right? 90 degree, it means 1. Now if you put the values, force value is given as 10 to the power minus 10. Charge value is given as 10 to the power minus 12. Speed value is given as 10 to the power 5 in the question, right? So you do the calculation and you get the answer as 10 to the power minus 3 along negative z direction, along negative z cap. Now here it is positive, negative is not mentioned in the question. We'll go with option number F. Okay, so what we have found out is minimum magnetic field mandate. B minimum. Next, question number 14. A charged particle travels along a straight line with speed v in a region where both electric and magnetic field are present. Which condition is valid? So this is again that velocity selector. There is a theory on that. Okay, I haven't covered that in our discussion, but this is pretty simple. Like you fire a charged particle in a crossed electric and magnetic field. Okay, and in that situation, if the charged particle goes along a straight line, okay, then magnetic force and electric force has to be equal for the charged particle to go along a straight line. Now let's see the situation here. You are you are projecting a positive charge particle, right? And this is the positive plate and negative plate. So electric force will act downward. The positive charge will have a tendency to go along this direction if magnetic field is not present, right? Because of the electric field. Now the magnetic field is entering the page, so the forefinger is pointing inwards, and velocity vector, this is towards the left, shown by the middle finger in the diagram. Then the thumb is showing you the upward direction, right? So magnetic force is acting in the upward direction. So you see magnetic force, if electric field is not there, then magnetic force will tend to move this charge along this direction, right? So electric field is tending to move this charge along the right and magnetic force along the left. Anyway, if it is continuing to travel in a straight line, then this FB should be equal to FE, right? Both of these should be equal. QVB equal to QE, and E will be equal to VB. Okay, so and they are perpendicular to each other, therefore our answer is option number B. Okay, I'll just upload this file, and by the time the second topic, like from question number 15, because I'm recording all these lectures in one shot, no editing, it becomes a problem in case some noise or error happens in between. Okay, so I'll do the second part, like magnetic field, Biot-Savart law, Ampere circuit law, in the second file of this. Okay, thank you. Closing this.